Okay, I think we're live now. Let's see. Hey everyone, just gonna kind of look at the chat for a minute, let everybody that's kind of rolling in late roll in, and I'll kick this off in a few seconds. So, hi to all of you, and just bear with me for a few seconds, okay? Let's see. Oh, somebody got a lot of questions in early. Music. Okay, at least I see a list I can come back to later in the chat. Huh. All right, well, without further ado, let's get this started. Episode number 32. Can't believe we've done 32 of these. I say that pretty much every episode. But yeah, these are a lot of fun. We don't do them too often. The Q&A live streams, I think we originally intended for them to be kind of a monthly thing, but lately we're very busy trying to get through, like chapter 5 and Super Dark Deception and the other stuff that we're working on, like Monsters and Mortals. So it's just hard because it keeps us pretty busy. But I will try to do these a little bit more often. But this is a great time to do one of these right before Tokyo Game Show because we have a lot of news to talk about with the movie announcement and Chapter 5 Teaser 2 trailer. Very close now. Probably in the next few days, we'll have that out. And then Super Dark Deception Chapter 2, which I know a lot of you are waiting on, and some cool updates coming to Monsters and Mortals for both PC and consoles, as well as some other things that are not related to the games. Well, I mean, it's related to Dark Deception, but it's not gaming. Like the second book is coming. We have a lot of other cool new merchandise that are on the way that should be out before the end of the year. So, yeah, a lot of interesting things to talk about. And it's my chance to hear from all of you. Whoops, I'm getting an error. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Hopefully that's not a problem. If you guys see any weird buffering, just kind of let me know. I'm getting like a stream health issue warning. But yeah, for anyone that's new to these Q&As, I think a lot of you are kind of returning members and viewers, so you've seen these before, but there's always a small group that's new to this. This is just your chance to ask me questions. Since I don't go to a lot of conventions, I pretty much only go to Tokyo Game Show, so I don't really get to like the US and all the other game shows in Europe and things where you could ask me that in person. So I do this on a live stream. I usually will take super chats for anyone that absolutely wants to have their question answered, or I'll go to the member chats for anyone that supports our channel. And every now and then I'll do email questions as well, but we don't always get to that one. So yeah, if there's anything you want to ask me about any of our games, Dark Deception, Monsters and Mortals, Super Dark Deception, or even the House franchise, which is our published game, or merchandise, absolutely anything that we make. It's this is your chance to do it and ask me directly. So yeah, let's kick this off. I think we already have. Let me see. We have a few super chats already. So I'll go through those, and then I will go through member chat because I saw a whole bunch of questions in there. So I'm definitely going to get to that. But we'll kick things off with this. So first question is vents in the game. We can get records with, or we can get secrets with video patterns, but why is there no video in the secret? If there's no video in game, will you delete them? I'm trying to think what you're talking about here, referring to this. If you can, I don't know if you're in the chat. I think you are. If you can kind of elaborate that on that a little bit more, which area of the game you're referring to, and then I can answer that better. Because right now I'm not exactly sure. So I just want to make sure that I give you the answer that you're looking for. Okay, Shayla threw in two. Thank you, Shayla. Will banana peels be one of the new traps in Monkey Business? Yeah, we did kind of incorporate the bananas a bit more in Monkey Business. They're not just decorations anymore, so they will actually be somewhat of a little bit of an obstacle as you go through. So yeah, it's not going to be like Monsters and Mortals, but it's definitely going to be more prevalent. Logan Watchhorn threw in 5. Thank you, Logan. Will Dark Deception come out on the Switch 2 when Chapter 5 comes out? Also, will Chapter 5 be out around Christmas? All right, I gotta warn you up front. I don't know if any of you guys, if you all saw my post on X, but just this is kind of my policy in general from here on out, is that anything we make is kind of a it's done when it's done timeline. So I can't give you any kind of hint as to what percentage the game is done or when it's going to come out. That goes for Chapter 5. It goes for Super Dark Deception Chapter 2, Chapter 3. Even to some extent, Monsters and Mortals with the Piggy DLC and Doors DLC. So when the game is ready, we will definitely put out a trailer and we will let all of you know that the trailer is coming. It will not be secret. So that's the best we can do, because our experience with giving any kind of timeline has almost always blown up in our face, because a lot of fans take that as a promise and they get, a lot of our fans are not the most mature. That just comes with the territory, and they lash out the way immature kids lash out when they don't get their way on something. So if a game gets delayed, they start harassing my team, harassing me. They think it's the internet. They can do what they want. You know how it is. So we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with their tantrums. So we're just going to keep it all under the table until it's 100% done. And I'd like to believe that those people would stop acting that way, but they never do. So we're just going to avoid them and that, like, giving them the setup to have that reaction altogether. Our games always get done. When they're done, they'll be out and you'll get them. No worries. So yeah, so as far as like Switch 2 for Chapter 5, we are actually making a Switch 2 version. In fact, we just recently got our Switch 2 dev kits finally, so we can actually do our Switch 2 version of Dark Deception, Super Dark Deception, and possibly Monsters and Mortals. I announced today that Monsters and Mortals had earned the PS4 port that I promised. I said if Monsters and Mortals sold well enough that there would be a PS4 port, and you all did it. You came together, you sold enough copies that it actually became viable to do a PS4 port. So to our Monsters and Mortals community, thank you all for supporting the game. This will definitely help get more users into the game, and we're going to do some aggressive sales coming up to make the game really, really cheap, to try to get more people into the game, because it's peer-to-peer. The only way you can get matches is if there's enough people playing it to support that. And it is based on region, so if you're in a region with less players, you're going to have a harder time finding matches. So yeah, I'd really love to see a Switch 2 version of Monsters and Mortals, but you're definitely getting one for Super Dark Deception and Dark Deception. That's just a given. And probably, I don't know about House 2 yet, or House, because those were built in a very strange engine called Stencil, which is not very good to port with. So I don't know if it can support Switch 2. We're going to kind of dig into that and find out. But it definitely supports Switch 1. So at least it's going to be on Switch 1. No worries. Okay, Thomas. Whoops. YouTube just jumped. Let me go back. Thomas Animations threw in £5. Thank you, Thomas. Are the Glowstick Entertainment Store plushies releasing soon? And when Enhanced Plus comes out, will you contact Corey Kenshin to play it? Okay, so as far as the Glowstick Entertainment Store plushies, we're still working on that. That's largely due to kind of a limited options for us for suppliers. in the Asia region. So we're kind of looking at what the best supplier to work with is for that. It's possible we may do another plushie with Makeshift. We do have the Puppet King plushie, which is not released yet. So we're looking at doing that, but we are still working on our own plushies, which may slide into 2026 because that's not something you can really rush. We have to really do our homework, finding the best factories that can make plushies with the best, highest quality materials. We don't want one like a low quality, cheaply made plushie that falls apart or just doesn't feel good. And you have to kind of go visit the factories too and make sure that they're not like using slave labor or child labor, and that is a big issue in Asia. So we do have to kind of do our due diligence on the factory itself and make sure that they're ethical and everything's all good to go and that they can do high quality plushies. So unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit longer for that, but we still have plushie partners like U2's and Makeshift that we can work with to get another plushie out this year for all of our fans that have been asking for more plushies. I know it's been a while. And as far as Enhanced Plus, getting Corey out, that's a given. Like, Corey's the king of Dark Deception. So he's gonna be first in line to get to try it out when it's done. And I'm really looking forward to hearing his opinion on it because we changed a lot. And if you've seen Monkey Business, you can see that we've changed a lot. So it's almost going to be like a entirely new experience for him. And I think that it's obviously more mature now, so maybe it'll appeal to his audience a little bit more. We'll see. Let's see how it goes. Marshall threw in 2. Thank you, Marshall. Will one of the powers get a rework? Like... telekinesis. All the powers are getting rebalanced to some degree. Don't expect drastic changes. That's just not going to happen. I know some people have their opinions on things, but the powers that are already in the game are pretty set. We're tweaking them a little bit, but for the most part, don't expect drastic changes there. Let's see, Jackson threw in 10. Hi Vince, I was just wondering if the new Dark Deception Remastered Enhanced update will include multiple save slots. It's currently very inconvenient to have or to make a backup of my file to keep my S rank safe. Okay, so this is actually a really good question. This has been a debate I've been having with Nixon kind of in the background about what to do with some of these quality of life things. So that's something that we've actively been talking about is adding save slots. We definitely want it. That's a quality of life thing, being able to save. Because one thing I kind of realized is, some people have families, they might have siblings. So if there's like a family with 3 kids and they all want to play Dark Deception, how do they do that? And they each can have their own game. Right now with the autosave, they'd have to erase the data or share the game with each other and play the same save file, which is not ideal. So the problem is we're trying to find out how we can put save slots into the game without resetting everyone's save files. So that is kind of the issue at the moment is we're trying to do that without forcing everyone to reset their save file, losing all their S ranks. So what we might have to do is integrate 2 save systems together, which we're kind of doing on our research on, but we haven't solved that issue yet. So right now it is just autosave only, the same as before, but we are looking into that. That's definitely something I think a game like Dark Deception needs, is to be able to do manual saves. So don't worry, we are working on that. But I can't really give good news yet. It's still in progress. Let's see. Capybara Gamer threw in 5 reals. Thank you, Capybara. Are any Chapter 5 teasers going to be released for YouTube members first? Will DD ambassadors and YouTube members in be in Chapter 5 credits? And how many levels will Dark Deception 2 have? Man, I'm not even done with Chapter 5. And you hit me up for Dark Deception 2. Okay, will Chapter 5 teasers be released for YouTube members first? Usually any like big reveal, like Chapter 5 teaser 2, I just released that to the entire community at once. That's a community event. I want everybody to kind of share in that together because let's be honest, the YouTube members leak everything as soon as they see it. I've seen it almost every time. They share the music tracks early. They go to their, their Discord servers and they start sharing like video recordings that they've done of it. So anything I release to members first will be leaked almost immediately. So it's almost pointless to even do that. So that's why I never make any, big trailer members only, because that it would just get leaked out anyway. So it would be kind of uneven, and then the whole community couldn't share in that moment together, which isn't great. As far as DD ambassadors being in the credits, yes, all of our DD ambassadors and YouTube members will be in a special segment of the Dark Deception credits once the game is done. We probably have to kind of double check some names because it's been a while. We want to make sure we include anyone and that early VIP or early channel members that left aren't kind of forgotten. But there's going to be some names that slip through the cracks, so we'll do our best. And I think there's one final part there as far as Dark Deception 2. That's just in the very early design writing phase. So until we have the remake of chapters 1 and 4 done, as well as chapter 5 out, I can't really release any information about the sequel to Dark Deception. I did say that there was going to be a surprise with that around the time that chapter 5 comes out, but I can't say what that is yet, and that's a secret I'm going to save for later. But just so you know, something is coming for that. Okay, Marshall, threw in €2. Thank you, Marshall. How much time will it take to beat Holiday Horror approximately? I can't really give like an approximate time for each level yet because one, I suck. I take longer and I'm testing it, trying to find bugs. So my gameplay time isn't really reflective of like the real gameplay time. I haven't actually like played it seriously from beginning to end, trying to beat it normally. Right now we're still bug testing. So, I mean, I would say at least an hour. It's pretty typical to like Mama Bear's level and the other chapter 4 levels. I would say like that minimum, but I'm sure, like a really good speedrunner could find a way. They always somehow do it in less than 20 minutes. I'm not saying they can do that. I'm just joking. Like, I have no idea how fast our best players are going to do it, but I'm sure it's going to blow my time out of the water easily. So we'll see. Zian threw in 5. Thank you, Zian. Let me see. Just want to know how... Okay, this is like a personal question about Glowstick Entertainment Discord server. Just want to know how you think about fans that are banned in Discord. I hope you're not one of the banned fans, are you? It's okay. You're probably... Either you're a banned fan or you're speaking on behalf of someone that's banned. Says, personally, I don't think most of them are truly bad, just need to be more mature. Well, here's the thing. With people that get banned, like, because I have had some people contact me trying to get them banned in our servers. The thing with our bans is I only ban people that really cross the line. They go around and try to make it sound like they're just banned for no reason and that it was some trivial thing, like they said hi, Vince. And I'm like, oh, screw you, you're banned. I don't like the way you said hi to me. They always try to make it sound like they're innocent and like they did nothing. But usually they cross the line with disrespecting the team, disrespecting me, like the Vince hate watchers where they blame me for every little problem in Dark Deception. So they'll come at me and they'll throw profanity at me, or they'll throw some insult or disrespect, or they'll attack our company, or they give the mods a hard time and break the rules, especially some of the more serious rules like leaking assets or trying to start drama. Like there was a while back where there was like a document that one of the guys that was causing problems was trying to spread, and there were people like helping him out. It's just like they've always done something to cross the line. Like nobody gets banned for doing something trivial. It's always they went over the line. The problem is they think if they wait a year, they can come back and give a apology, and then they will get back in. Unfortunately, I'm not their parent. I'm not their dad. You know, they're very, I can tell these people are very used to mistreating probably their family and getting away with it, like being forgiven because like their family loves them. You know, they're used to getting a little soft slap on the wrist for everything they do, and they kind of come at me with that same mentality. You know, I'm a dad too. I have a kid. I've seen this. Like he always tests what people will let him get away with. So I have to come in and be the sheriff sometimes and kind of stick the law down and make him adhere to it so he respects rules. It's kind of like that with a lot of the people that get banned. So I've unbanned a couple people. Like early on, I unbanned because I was like, oh, everyone, you know, why not give them a second chance? And they immediately made me regret it. They just went right back to the same behavior as soon as something bad, well, something in their mind bad came up, like another delay. It's like the old toxic behavior came right out again, and they started lashing out again. So nothing had changed. So after that, you know, I've watched some other creators and how they handle bans, and I kind of agree with their stance. It's like, you know, if you're going to be rude to our team, if you're going to be rude to me, if you're going to show disrespect, that's just going to be a perma ban. I'm not unbanning. So like when they get banned, they've earned that ban. And I hope they mature. I mean, if they show continuous, because I do see members of the community, if they show that they're there being positive, that they're not lashing out, that they're not being negative and trying to start trouble in the dark deception community, then eventually I may make a special exception for them to give them another chance. In the meantime, it's upon them to show that they truly are different. It's not going to be like, okay, Vince, it's been 6 months. You know, please let me back in. I'm a whole new person now. I'm not buying that. And until I see them like really making a positive impact on the community, then I'm not going to, you know, it's not going to give, they're not going to have much credibility with me to cash that promise. Because I know there's been a few people going around lobbying recently to get them banned. And for those people, I would just say there's a lot of other Dark Deception fan servers that you can participate in, and there's always online where you can be part of the Dark Deception community and interact with members and share. Sorry, I'm answering this question a little bit long, but I do want to like set this tone for people that come into our community because, you know, it's impossible to keep everything toxic out. It's just, you know, it's the internet, it's Twitter. It's just not going to happen. That's delusional if you think you can have like some utopia fandom. That's just, there's always going to be the good and the bad. And most of the time, if people are ragging on our game, I don't care. That's positive feedback. I mean, positive constructive criticism. But they're like, Vince, your decision on this sucks. I don't like this level. I'm not going to ban you for expressing a criticism of our game. But if you come at me and you're like, screw you, Vince, I don't like you, and you're a loser, and you're a bad man who's a pedophile or something. I've had actually people say that because we did what was it? The DLC with Yandere Sim. So all those Yandere Simulator hate watchers try to like call anyone that even talked to him a pedophile. So I've had to deal with those people. I've had to deal with other people and other little hate cliques. Those people are the ones I ban, not the guys criticizing my game. But, you know, I have unbanned some people. I'm not going to mention their name because I don't want to shine a spotlight on them, but there have been a couple people who genuinely changed, did better, and I welcome them back into our community, completely unbanned them. So it's not impossible. I would just say, to be safe, don't get banned. Like, just don't be toxic. It's not that hard. It's very easy. Okay, Puppet King through and two. Could we hear the instrumental Prison Panic OSTs? Actually, well, I mean, the OSTs for Prison Panic, I've been keeping kind of under wraps because a lot of them are vocal, um, and they're actually much higher. They're much more complex than the more atmospheric ambient tracks that we have on all of the other levels. Because Darkstar is a songstress, she's a singer, so she has some very interesting performances, and they are kind of a spoiler because what she sings about is related to what's happening. So it wouldn't be very hard to guess what's going on in the level if I release those songs. So I'm not going to release them. I can't. They are absolutely in spoiler territory. And now we're kind of reworking them a little bit. Um, just doing a little bit of a reworking on the style. So I think they're even better than what we had before. And yeah, I want those to be heard for the first time when people actually play the game. So those ones I'll never release early. Um, Anything that feels safe, like the Prison Yard track, because it's just an ambient, then I might release those. I think Prison Panic does have a couple more ambient tracks that I can put out. Um, I have a lot of other cool tracks for Chapter 1 through Chapter 4 remake coming, as well as maybe a few more for like the later levels in Chapter 5. But it's the same thing. If there any kind of spoiler as to what's going on in the game, you all are too good at guessing. I'm not going to take the risk of putting it out and spoiling a segment of the gameplay. So I'll do my best to give you guys as much as possible, but I can't give you the whole soundtrack before the game releases. Capybara Gamer threw another 5. Will you sell signed copies for the second book? What's the price? Are the books coming to Amazon? How many Chapter 5 teasers will happen before trailers? Okay, so for the second book, unfortunately, I'm not going to do signed copies this time because one thing that the factory does when they print our book usually is they will shrink wrap the book and seal it, which protects it from getting bent up during shipment. And I think that's really important for the book. In this case, I couldn't do that because we're signing it. So I had to kind of self-seal it in these bags when I sent it out to people. And it works, but it's not completely safe as far as protecting the integrity of the covers and the spine of the book. So I really want to keep, it perfectly factory sealed on the second book. So what I would do is, I think when Chapter 5 goes out, I'll try to do more events, like showing up to different game shows. And then I will just sign anybody that comes up to me with their book, I'll sign it for free. Like I'm not going to charge anyone for my autograph. So if you want to get your book signed by me, I'm happy to do it. Anywhere you find me, if you see me out in public and you're like, hey Vince, I got my book, I'll sign it. It's no big deal. I might do some book signing events if we sell enough. And I'm also going to bring, one thing I'm going to do in the near future too, is I'm going to start selling our books on Amazon so that people have an easier way to get our books. Because, there's a lot of problems going on with the tariff situation, especially over here in Asia, because, every country is getting hit with these tariffs from the US. And a lot of our purchases are from the US. So shipping to the US, at least right now from Taiwan, is actually on hold by the government for a couple weeks while they set up this new shipping system that will keep track of the tariffs that the US has set, because they've never had to pay those before, so they didn't have a system set up for it. And then most of the countries, I know Japan's got like 15%, Taiwan's probably like 20%. So it's starting to have some challenges shipping these books from Asia. So what I'm going to do is ship like a number of them to warehouses in the US so that anybody that orders from the US can easily receive them from local distributors rather than, all the way from Taiwan. So I'm going to improve our pipeline and make it more accessible so that people can get their products faster, but it'll take a little time to set that up. And as far as the price, I'm pretty sure it's going to be $9.99 or $11.99, pretty much the same price range. And you asked if they were coming to Amazon. I answered that yes, they are. And how many Chapter 5 teasers will happen before the trailers? Right now, I think we have 3 planned, but it's possible we might trim that to 2 and just leave it as 2 so that we have something, because we're putting together a really big gameplay trailer later that's also got kind of a lot of cinematic content in it, and we want to save some stuff for that. You'll see what I mean after you see Chapter 5 Teaser 2 as far as we did with that. I think we've already kind of gone over the line for what a teaser usually has. Like, it almost feels like a full cinematic trailer. It's not really what you would ever call a teaser. So we might just stay with 2. I think the 2 teaser trailers that we're putting out already give a really good hint of what's coming in Chapter 5. Capybara has another follow-up question. It says, do we need to pass through the unknown portal to beat Chapter 5? Will it have shards or any gameplay at all? Does Chapter 5 explorable areas with quests? Well, obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything. The unknown portal that you're referring to is part of the true story, or the true ending storyline. So if you get all the S ranks and you are on the true story path, you will encounter that portal. If you're not, then you won't. That's all I can say at this point. Oh, we got a couple more from Capybara. Threw in another 10 reals. Thank you, Cappy. Oh, and YouTube did the jump right as I was trying to read it. So, well, find my place again. Sorry. Okay. Do you have a bug testing team for Chapter 5? Yes. Is it true that Fear Fortress length is based on how many S ranks do you have? Yes. And how many endings can you get from Fear Fortress 6? Well, 6 in the entire game. The true ending doesn't take place in Fear Fortress. That happens with Wicked Ways. Capybara Gamer again, this is the second one. Finding Frankie devs said they'd do a Monsters and Mortals collab. What do you think? I'm always open to it. You said the last Q&A that we have a special power in Wicked Ways. Is that the 8th power? Let's see. 8th power. No, you will get the 8th power before Wicked Ways. Wicked Ways is a... Well, I'm not going to say everything about it, but I mean, that's kind of the conclusion. You basically have all your powers at that point. UBF 13, 3 and 5, thank you, UBF. Will we hear Puppet King and Darkstar's voice in Teaser 02? No, you will not hear their voice, but you will see them. Also, does Darkstar have a chainsaw? I cannot deny or confirm that. I think there's art that has something resembling a chainsaw. Will Enhanced Plus come out this year? For sure. I cannot say. That's definitely a you'll see. We're doing our best, but I think when you see the scope of Chapter 1 through 4 remake, you'll understand. Gaming Scrooge Q. Oh, question from Ducky. Okay. Will Invisible replace Healing Hospitality? It sort of does, yeah. It's kind of an upgrade over Healing Hospitality. But we don't delete those tracks. So we will have somewhere in Torment Therapy where you can still hear Healing Hospitality. So a good example of that is Monkey Business. So when you enter Monkey Business, you will hear the new lobby music that a lot of people have listened to on YouTube. But if you look around, there's a record player you can find in the lobby that you can click on and activate, kind of like the Detective Evans was here in the maze, where it will play the original OG Dark Deception theme from like 2014, back when it was that Unity VR game. But this one will play the original lobby music, which was kind of the jazzy kind of lounge music. So you can still listen to it inside the game. So we're not erasing anything. We still honor it and keep it in the game. It's just it won't be kind of the main looping track. It'll be something that you have to find as a part of an Easter egg. Will Joy Machine replace Joy Joy Diddy? No. Joy Machine is for a new segment of Mascot Mayhem. And when will the Dark Deceptions Steam banners be updated? Probably close to when I'm ready to release chapters 1 through 4, the remake. We're kind of debating on the style given to those, depending on how we redo the cover art. Because I did announce on X that we are doing a new cover art for Dark Deception. Not the old cover art isn't good. The other side. This one over here. I still love that cover art. It's just, it has like a much younger tone to it because it was made for OGDD, and that game was targeting a much younger audience. And now we're still kind of open to all ages, but I would say Dark Deception's much more appropriate for the teen rating. Like, I would say people should be at least 12 years of age to play Dark Deception. I wouldn't let like an 8-year-old play it. It is going to have some profanity. It is going to have blood. So it's going to have a mature rating. But I think the volume of those are pretty light. It's not like Grand Theft Auto or something as far as like profanity everywhere. You might only hear it sprinkled in to a couple levels where it really adds some value to the game, like with Lucky. And then the blood is mainly during kills. It's not going to be gratuitous. It's going to have like a set amount. It's not something that's overkill. So the new art will be something a little bit more AAA looking, a little bit more mature horror game looking. But, you know, still the Dark Deception style. We're not going to lose that. Cappy Var threw in another 5 reals. Thank you, Cappy, again for all your multiple donations. Will any scrapped OSTs be reworked? Is the forest now... Well, let me do this one at a time. Will any scrapped OSTs be reworked? No. Is the forest now a shard collecting zone and barely buried? No. And is Chow Tierney involved in Enhanced Plus? No, he's helping exclusively with Monsters and Mortals. And do you remember Princess Pow? Oh my god, where did you dig that up from? Yeah, that's like an old mobile game we made early on, back when I had my original partner when Dark Deception was first made in 2014. That and a terrible game called Sharks Love Ham. And those were 2 mobile games that I made with my previous partner that he would actually help me make, and I hated them. I've never mentioned them because I despise them. So I know you're all going to go looking for them now. I think they've been delisted from Google Play, so I'm not sure if they're still there to see. Maybe the dead page is still there. But it was done in a very like generic mobile game fashion, like that cartoony art style. So yeah, if anyone wants to go look at that, feel free. It's like it's not from Glowstick Entertainment. It's from back when it was called Glowstick Games. But yeah, we didn't even trademark those things. They're just dead. Let's see, Will Marshall threw in €2. Thank you, Marshall. Will Bailey Buried have a forest shard collecting zone? Wow, you guys like right there, back to back, thinking the same thing. No, so the forest, we do have a forest in Barely Buried now, but it is more of a story tile. So it's a story event area that kind of expands the interaction with Malik, because originally, you know, Malik brings you into Barely Buried and he's already kind of just grabbing Doug by the throat. You don't really see how he abducts Doug or how they get into there, what happens initially. So we've kind of expanded on that. I've expanded that scene and what happens and how Malik kind of toys with Doug. It's not something immediately like they do kind of engage a little bit of a cat and mouse event in that level now. So you'll see it in Super Dark Deception Chapter 2 pretty soon. You'll get like I mean, granted, it is 2D, so it's like a little bit reduced in the 2D version because it doesn't need to be that big, but it's a lot more fleshed out in Dark Deception. Gaming Scrooge. Okay. Thank you, Gaming Scrooge, through in 25. Another question from Ducky. Did you hire multiple Q&A testers to ensure Enhanced Plus in Chapter 5 will have as few bugs as possible? Okay, let me dash your dreams real fast. So I could throw thousands of Q&A testers at Dark Deception and Unreal Engine 5, and it's still going to have bugs. There's not much chance these days of launching with 0 bugs. There's always going to be a minor bug that can come from the use, especially with the PC version. I think it's going to be a lot better with the console version because it's uniform hardware. With mobile, with PCs, you have a variety of devices and a variety of people's skill with managing those devices. Like a lot of people don't have their RAM set up right or their computer set up right, and it causes bugs, it causes issues. A lot of it is hardware related. There are also bugs built into Unreal Engine 5 that don't show up in the editor, they don't show up in the exported version, they don't show up until it's on the market on Steam, and then all the magic happens and things break. That's just unavoidable. What our job is to do is prevent game-breaking bugs, things that prevent you from playing the game and enjoying it as it's intended to play. But there's always going to be a minor bug that pops up and affects a small percentage of people. You know, it doesn't affect everybody. It affects maybe like 15% of people or 30% if it's more prevalent. But a lot of it is affected by hardware. It is affected by how they've managed their computer. It's affected by Steam. It's affected by Epic Game Store. It's just a multitude of moving parts. So, you know, I mean, even now I play Cyberpunk 2077. I still run into bugs. I've had my game crash a couple times, but it's phenomenally better than what it was, you know, a few years ago when the thing was like basically a bug meme factory. So it's always going to be that case, and it's our job to keep patching it and keep fixing it and just keep it as stable and awesome and playable as we can. And then that's where the community comes in, because you guys break the game in ways that we and our testers never think of. Some of you intentionally, some of you not intentionally. Let me see. I think there's a couple more questions there. Is Nixon doing great optimization work? I don't know. Maybe you can ask him. He tells me he is. It seems like everything's, you know, running at 60 frames. I have my frames capped on my computer, but even when that's turned off, it's still like up to 120. And we do test on lower end devices, but our lower end device is like a 3070 card, and some people are trying to play this thing with an integrated UHD card from Intel, which can't even run, you know, Unreal Engine 4, much less Unreal Engine 5. So there's such a weird environment online with people about optimization. I mean, I come from the era of optimization when everything was like done with PS3 and mobile graphics. So I'm already used to optimizing in that whole process. But I think a lot of people don't understand what optimization is. They've just learned that word, and they learned that it means it's supposed to run on everything. And that's not how it is. You know, you can't make, just to give an example, you can't force old hardware to run the latest software. It just doesn't work that way. You know, if you take like a flip phone, can it run ChatGPT? No. You can't force it to run things that it wasn't built to run. So some people, I would say, if your hardware is less than 10 years old and it can't run the game, that's the developer's fault. If you're trying to play the game with hardware older than 10 years, that's your fault. You know, go buy something new or newer, like newish, just within like the last decade. If some, I get them when they get like a new game and it won't run. Like I think what happened recently with what was it, Metal Gear Solid Delta, where it was running at like 6 frames per second on a 5090 card. That's the developer's fault. Absolutely. And I remember some of the issues with Battlefield 6 where they had memory issues, memory optimization issues. I play Oblivion, and Oblivion had like a huge memory leak. That's absolutely the developer's fault. So yeah, we're testing a lot. I'm doing my best to make sure we don't have any big issues. We've already fixed a lot of the original Dark Deception bugs. And we're just always looking out for new ones created by, you know, we're in a new engine now, Unreal Engine 5. And I think Unreal Engine 5's issues are well documented at this point. So we're always on the lookout for like the screen tearing and the memory leaks and anything else that we can find. But, you know, we can't catch everything. A lot of that's going to come from the community. Just like even for a 2D game, Super Dark Deception, and launched with bugs from Unity. And the community pointed out those bugs and we got them fixed. And now the game's in a much better state than it was before. But it's a continuous thing. It's just modern game engines. They keep being updated. They keep having new bugs. It just comes with the territory. All right, Logan Watchthorn threw in 2. Thank you, Logan. Awesome. It's just a comment. Awesome. Thanks, Vince. Love you guys. Thank you. And we love that you guys are supporting us and rooting for us. That makes us want to do our best when we have the support of our fans and the community. Because in the end, you're the ones we're making this game for. Boogeyman Toilet threw in another 2. Thank you, Boogeyman. Will Doug and Beers be in the Dark Deception movie? If I have anything to say about it, yeah. It's going to be, just on the note of the movie, since, yay, we finally got that announcement out. I've been sitting on that for a while. So I was happy that they finally gave me the green light to put that out. At this point, though, it's basically at the phase where we're trying to, you know, we have some options for producers and we're looking at some potential directors. We have not announced the director for Dark Deception's movie yet. And the director, in large part, will probably help determine which studio we work with on shooting the movie. So, you know, this thing goes in steps. Hollywood has their own little pipeline process for this. I'm kind of learning it as we go. The way they think about some things is very interesting. I'm not going to share that. But, you know, some movies in the past that came out the way they did make a lot more sense to me now that I understand how some of these executives think. But yeah, one of the things, you know, I've drawn the line on is a faithful adaptation. I'm not going to let them change the Dark Deception story or characters at all. Like, they have to stick to the script. We can write a little bit of flexibility on the story and the world, but the characters are going to be faithful. The storyline, ultimately the larger storyline is going to be faithful. And I'm going to be as involved as I can be. So any studio that does the production of Dark Deception is going to have to agree to that. But I don't know the timeline for when I'll be able to announce the news as far as the director and when the production shoot or the shoot starts. Hopefully in the near future, but these movies take time. The FNAF movie took like, 8 years? Something like that, 7 or 8. And what was it? Poppy and Bendy's movie is still going. That's been 2-3 years already. These things take time. So I'm betting it's going to be at least a year or 2 before you hear something new about the Dark Deception movie, which is great because that gives us plenty of time. You know, to get Chapter 5 out and maybe some of Dark Deception 2 out before the movie finally drops. Maybe we'll have Dark Deception 2 out before the movie goes out. That'd be great because then there'll be two games out that people can enjoy. Plus, Super Dark Deception will be finished. Um, and then they can get into the movie. It would be pretty bad if the movie came out really fast and none of the games are finished. You know, it'd be hard to get new fans into the series that way. So we'll see how it goes. But I think we have plenty of time to finish everything. Addie threw in 10. Thank you, Addie. Hypothetically, if a child were to somehow find themselves in elementary evil, sorry, I gotta move my little window, how would Agatha react? Would she be their friend or attempt to befriend them? Or betray them, I think you mean. Or would she kill them like anyone else? Agatha is addicted to pain, the pain of children. So her impulse is to kind of feed on their suffering, because that's, if you know the backstory of Agatha with Bierce and the sacrifice, which you'll see a lot more of in Chapter 5, you'll know that that was the way that she originally, well, her mortal shell left the world, the mortal realm. So she's kind of locked into that, and she is drawn to that as a result. So it's very unlikely that she would be a true friend. Any pretense of friendship is simply to toy with them and kind of enhance their despair. It's kind of like a cat playing with a mouse with her. And then she would never let you go. So I think she has kind of a warped idea of friendship, a very twisted view of how she interacts with other children. And I can't really point to the current build of Dark Deception to show you that, but the new one, the remake, definitely shows that. You'll see a lot about how she abuses the other children in her school and just how twisted she can be towards the children and also towards Doug. So she's a lot more extreme in this new version. We'll put it that way. Pyro Shark threw in 5. Thank you, Pyro. Hey, Vince, will the Dark Deception movie revolve around Doug's story, or will it be similar to the Malik Archives, and will all the monsters get enough screen time? At this point, there's a lot of business side stuff going on. We haven't really hashed out the screenplay yet, so there's not actually like a full screenplay on paper that we've read through for the Dark Deception movie. We have some there's kind of like the skeleton of a story, but there's a lot of details that still need to be worked out as far as what's going to be going into the Dark Deception movie, which characters, which environments, and how much of the larger Dark Deception game's story arc is going to be in the movie. So that's still very much up in the air. We're working our way through it. Adrian and Corey are doing a great job. One thing I like about them is they actually play Dark Deception. They respect Dark Deception. I think a lot of people were concerned, or some people expressed concern to me because they don't have a previous game adaptation, but they have worked in horror. And I've seen some of their previous horror work with like Wolf Creek, which is an underrated indie horror gem, in my opinion. I watched the first two Wolf Creek movies. They're fantastic. And they have worked, although it's not in their IMDb, they've worked with a lot of big stars. Some of the well-known actor names on some of their own films. They worked with like Sylvester Stallone and Kevin James. Trying to think of the list, but like a lot of well-known names. So they have good connections. They have a lot of experience writing films for both streaming and for theatrical releases. And I think they're perfectly capable to deliver a solid Dark Deception movie. And I'll do my best to make that, awesome rather than solid. But we'll see how it goes. I think people weren't very happy with the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Hopefully, the second one does it better. But and I know Scott's very involved with that. I don't know anything about the Poppy movie or the Bendy movie to know how those are going. Little Nightmares looks pretty cool, just what I've seen so far. So I'm pretty sure we can do just as good a job or better based on the people we have involved right now. I think my goal at this point is to keep the people out of the production that will want to change it to something terrible, you know, because it is getting a big budget. I can't give any numbers right now, but it's getting a very good budget. And when the budget gets big, you start to get those people involved that like to mess things up. You know, they think they're smarter than the original story. So Adrian and Corey, one thing I like about them is that they right away told me would they want to work with me to keep those people far away from Dark Deception. You know, those producers, those executives, like just keep them far away. And if we can do that, then our odds of putting out a good movie are pretty good. And we won't have like a Dragon Ball Evolution type of event or Mario Brothers first movie or early Sonic. All right, so let me see here. Zia Nee threw another 5. Just want to know if you plan. Oh, I didn't even notice my mic was like fallen. Sorry if my audio has been a little messed up. I didn't realize it shifted. Okay. Just want to know if you plan for not pure evil enemies in Dark Deception 2. It's way too early to talk about Dark Deception 2. I would say you can see that in Dark Deception 1. By the end of chapter 5, we've kind of fleshed out the enemies more. I wouldn't say like not pure evil. It's just I wouldn't call them like good or anything, but you will see that some of the enemies have kind of their own agenda or ulterior motives that are not what you would call purely evil. And I'm not just talking about chapter 5 enemies. I'm talking about overall, even to some degree, the Joy Joy gang and Mama Bear. You'll see that they all have their own motivations for doing what they do and being part of this. Let's see. Addie threw in 5. What was Agatha like before Beers sacrificed her? Actually, you'll see a little bit of that. I can't say it's like a huge segment of the game, but you will get to see Agatha before she was killed. I would say her personality. She asked, "What was she like, personality-wise, in her human form?" Or sorry, it's like 2 a.m. I'm already starting to lose my ability to talk. What was she like, personality-wise, in her human life? Good luck on chapter 5. Thank you. I would say she's typical, like a typical happy girl her age. Pretty normal little girl. Other than her living situation. And that's mainly because of her mother. Just being an employee of Beers and Edgar. You will also... Well, we'll save some of that. I'm not going to say it. Almost let that slip. Okay. Let's see. Boogeyman Toilet. Do you think there are new enemies in Chapter 5 that will be fan favorites as much as Puppet King and Darkstar? Which enhanced level is the scariest? Enhanced level is the scariest. As far as being scarier, I would say that Stranger's Sewers and Deadly Decadence and maybe Mascot Mayhem are scarier simply because we've introduced a lights out mechanic So you get a flashlight. Doug will find a flashlight. Actually, it's an app he gets on his phone that will allow him, or his tablet that will allow him to use the tablet as a flashlight. But now you will have some segments that are, it's story specific. It's not like the whole time, but there will be areas of each level where Doug will have to go through some dark areas with only the flashlight lighting his way. And that, such a simple thing makes it a lot scarier for those moments. I'm not going to tell what moments in the game there are because I want it to be a little bit of a surprise, but we've already kind of talked about the flashlight, so it's not really spoiler. And then, you know, the game's already out, so it's fine for me to tell you this. So yeah, that is actually a prevalent mechanic, and that will be used in Chapter 5 as well. So there's going to be now a few levels. It won't be in every level, but it will be a few levels where it ties in with the story, where Doug will have to kind of step into the darkness and find shards that way. It's a lot easier to get jump scared when you're not paying attention, you have a limited vision. Let me see what else we have here. And as far as fan favorites, there are some other characters I think people will like. A minute ago, I almost said one of them, and then I realized I should not say that, and I shut up. So yeah, there are some more characters coming, especially in Wicked Ways. Fear Fortress, definitely. And some interesting moments that I haven't talked about on purpose. Yeah, obviously I'm not going to spoil those. But yeah, Puppet King and Darkstar are just kind of the ones that I'm putting up front as the face of Chapter 5, but they are definitely not the only new enemies. There are numerous more others. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher this. Flatsky. Okay, Flatsky 901 through and 2. Thank you. Is it possible to work with us like a tester? Who is us? Are you talking about the community? I mean, when the game goes out, I'm going to rely on the community to put out the fires. So if anything goes out and breaks, how fast the community lets me know that is how fast I can fix it and get it to a good place. I mean, I would love to launch the game and have no issues. That's like my dream. It's never happened. Every game, every chapter we've launched has had bugs. So I'm still dreaming of a launch that's just, you know, completely clean, no problems. That's my pipe dream. I'm doing my best to make Chapter 5 the first one, but yeah, we'll see. So yeah, every one of you will become a tester when you buy Chapter 5 and, you know, the Chapters 1 through 4 remake. And then I will work as fast as I can to get every little bug fixed so that we can have a smooth launch. See, Boogeyman Toilet through another 2. Thank you again. Why did Super Dark Deception, yoink, only get updated on Android? No, it's been updated on iOS also. It was only updated on mobile. So that was intentional because we didn't know if the update was going to be good. We had to make sure it wasn't like broken or that it didn't break previous levels first. In all of our testing, it didn't break. But, you know, once you export, we tested the APK, we tested it in test flight. But like once you put it out to the public, things break. So that's what happened. We put out 1.3.1 and immediately things broke. And now we're on 1.3.3, which fixed all of those bugs that were reported to us. And it's in a more stable state now. So those are basically early features from Dark Deception or Super Dark Deception Chapter 2. So when we roll out Chapter 2, everyone will get that. Right now it's mobile exclusive because we're not going to roll out a Chapter 1 update to everyone when Chapter 2 is so close to releasing. No, I'm not going to tell you when, but it's very close. So it wouldn't make sense to do a platform, or sorry, a rollout to all platforms and then launch chapter 2, which has the same content, like that close together. So we were just testing it to make sure the features worked with our mobile crowd, and then we'll put it out to consoles and PC and everybody else. But when that happens, you'll also be getting chapter 2. Unicat and Jess. Hello again. She threw in 5. Thank you. Red asks, will TT get a new Zone 2 chase theme? Will there be monsters? Or let me do this one at a time. Will Torment Therapy get a new Zone 2 chase theme? Trying to think what Zone 2 was like. I don't think so. No, I think we're keeping the same chase theme for Zone 2. However, Zone 2 will be very different. It's almost completely remade. Will there be Monsters and Mortals Enhanced? No. And will Goliath Clowns get a redesign? No. Goliath Clowns have been upgraded as far as like the texture and some of the detail. Like we've cleaned up some low poly stuff, but their design's not changing dramatically. Same thing with the Clown Gremlins. They look a little different because we improved their textures, we improved the model. Anything that was kind of low poly looking, we kind of fixed it up. But their designs are set. And do soul shards actually scream? No. But there is one new feature that you're going to see during Tokyo Game Show, actually, because I'm sure people are going to release video footage of the monkey business level as they're playing it, and it does introduce a new element to Dark Deception, which I haven't mentioned. And that new element is called Shard Corpses. So now, Doug is not alone in the mazes. He will see other mortals, and he will find their remains amongst the maze. And the point of the Shard Corpses are to give bonus shards for the archive room. So the shard count that you get from interacting with them doesn't count towards the level. They're not like level shards. It's kind of like a bonus item shard. And when you get the shards from that corpse, and you'll see how that happens when you see the video of it, it goes to your shard count inside the archive room, which you can use to buy things and unlock cool items. So it's kind of like finding secret Monopoly money in the level that you can spend at the company store to kind of deck out your archive room and get cool things, because a lot of them, some of the items will be expensive. And if you just play through the game and get shards by completing the game, it may not be enough shards to fully unlock everything. So to fully unlock everything, you'll have to find all the shard corpses too. And maybe they scream, maybe they don't. You'll have to see that during Tokyo Game Show. Rooney Nico threw in 10. Thank you, Rooney. Did you know there is a bug in Dark Deception on Steam Deck where in Mascot Mayhem in the self-destruct sequence, it blows up immediately, making it impossible to complete the game? That I did not know, but I'm sure the old version has a lot of bugs that we've already kind of ironed out. And some of them were fixed by just upgrading to Unreal Engine 5. Some of the performance bugs. We haven't encountered that on PC. So if that's a Steam Deck issue, and I'm assuming this is a legit copy of Dark Deception, then we'll probably see it again in testing, but we haven't encountered that. To be fair, we haven't tested on Steam Deck yet, so we'll get to that, and when we get to that, I'll put that on the list of things to keep an eye out for. Hopefully it's not still present, but if it is, we'll fix it. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Now I have something else to look for. And thinking about it now, I was like, it probably isn't going to happen because we rebuilt that level pretty significantly, unless it's a bug with one of the with the self-destruct blueprint that has the timer. It may be set to 0, and that's why it detonates automatically. That's probably what's happening. Zia Nee threw another 5. Thank you. Okay. So he's saying, yeah, I was banned. For anyone that didn't see earlier, he was asking me about the ban policy for the Glowstick Entertainment servers and for our social media in general. It's pretty easy. Don't disrespect me. Don't lash out at me. I'm not your dad. I'm not going to forgive you. It's easy. And don't disrespect our team, and don't come into our community and cause drama and be toxic. It's really easy. I don't get why this is hard for some people. Some people just want to start stuff. So I mean, that's fine. It's it's the old FAFO. If you do it, just be ready for the consequences, and it's a permanent ban. And that's not saying Zian's a bad guy or that he was banned for something related to that. And he says, I'm not asking to be unbanned, just saying thanks for answering my previous question. Actually, I appreciate you asking that question because it is something that doesn't get talked about enough. And as the community grows, it's something I'll probably need to talk about just to make it more transparent so people don't a lot of people in the dark about how you get banned, and then the people that get banned run around obviously spreading lies saying that they got banned for nothing, and those people will hear that and think that I'm banning people for nothing. So the more I make people aware, they'll know that anyone that got banned for a reason. My goal is I hope I never have to ban anyone, but yeah, it never works out that way. But Polly Wenman threw in 20. Hi, Vince. Are you still hiring? I would love to be a concept artist for your game. I have lots of ideas from friendly to horrific characters. I would love to hear from you on LinkedIn. Actually, I haven't used LinkedIn in a long time. I know I still have a page there, but it's been a while since I actually updated it. I think it's really out of date. As far as hiring, yeah, I'm hiring. Primarily right now, we're hiring environment artists, like environment modelers, just because we have a mess of environment work. It's almost like infinite, and we can always use more hands. And then we're hiring, same thing for Super Dark Deception. We're hiring 2D pixel environment artists. So anybody that does environments with 2D pixel art, we're hiring. Feel free to message me on X or on any of our social media channels, and just post a link to your ArtStation or wherever you kind of show your work, and I'll take a look. And if it's good, I'll definitely get back to you. As far as concept art, we're not hiring that right now, but we have a lot of projects coming in the near future that probably do need concept artists. So even though it's not like an immediate need for Dark Deception, I think with like the movie and with Dark Deception 2, there's going to be opportunities for good concept artists. So yeah, definitely send me the link to your work ahead of time. It doesn't hurt to look now and kind of have you in mind for when that stuff pops up. You can just post it on any of my posts on my X. If you put it into the comments, a link, I'll just take a look. Neon Raccoon threw in £2. Thank you, Neon. What is this thing? Do I not have it tight? Oh, I need to tighten it a little bit. I was like, why does this thing keep flipping? Okay. How many hours will it take to complete chapter 5? Too many. Infinite. Okay. Oh, YouTube, why do you do that? But thank you for the donation. Sorry, that's one of those you'll see things, but hopefully not hopefully not too much. We'll see. That's a you'll see for me too, because even I don't know how many hours are left. See, like Feza threw in a 3. Thank you, Feza. When will the second Malik novella be out? Malik Archives Volume 2. The story is pretty much done. I'm just kind of proofreading the final right now. And we're waiting on cover art. So we have a guy who did our first cover art. He's doing the second one too. That will probably take a month to finalize and wrap up everything. And then the printing process is pretty fast now. We have it streamlined. Only really takes like a week to get it all printed. So realistically, I would say some point in November, probably. Yeah, I think November we'll have it out and ready. We'll probably start taking pre-orders late October around Halloween. And we'll give like a little discount to anybody that kind of jumps in early. Sorry, it's like hot here. I got to keep drinking tea to remain functional. Capybara Gamer threw in... Oh, he's got another question. Okay. Do you know Lucky's #1 fan? He's very dangerous. I'm waiting for you to tell me. Argo, what? Oh, sorry. Skipped one. Unicat Ninjas has another question from Marshall, who asks, what is the new shard count of Mascot Mayhem and Enhanced Plus? Is CC getting a big visual rework? I think the biggest... Well, let me go with the first one first. Shard count of Mascot Mayhem and Enhanced Plus, it actually did increase. So I'm trying to remember what the number is. It didn't increase that much. I think it only increased like 30 shards total to kind of round it off, because I think it had like a weird number before and we just kind of upped it. As far as Crazy Carnival getting a big visual rework, yeah. I would think mostly it's on the exterior and in Zone 2 that you'll see the biggest difference. Let's see, Shayla threw in... let's see if this is too loud. It's starting to heat up in here. So the beauty of being in the South Pacific. These AC units in here get a little bit loud, so hopefully that's not too noisy, but we'll see. I'll turn it off after a couple minutes. So you're going to hear like a jet engine in the back. Okay, back to this. Shayla threw in 5. Thank you, Shayla. It says, will Torment Therapy lobby get a similar music changing treatment to Monkey Business? Yeah, the Invisible track is the new kind of lobby music. If you've heard that yet, it's up on YouTube. Let's see, Citrix says, what is the longest gameplay level on Chapter 5? Fear Fortress. ZRB threw in 5. Thank you, ZRB. What was the intention for the game, or sorry, was the intention for the game initially to be M, or did that just happen as time went on? I think originally the intention was to kind of make the game accessible for all ages, because it was supposed to be just like a spooky Pac-Man game. It was never supposed to be mature, but I think as we went on and I was designing the characters and their personalities, I kept wanting to push the envelope a little bit more and sneak in a little bit of maturity, but you know, with young kids, you can't do that. So we have to kind of, it started to limit what the game could be. And it got to the point when it's already teen rated, which means it's allowed to have some profanity, that we just wanted to push it a little bit more towards mature. It's never going to be like super mature, like something like Outlast or the Grand Theft Auto series or anything with violence, gore, and blood. But it's definitely going to have like a little bit of wiggle room, like some profanity and some blood, just not gratuitous amounts or to a graphic degree. It's still going to be rooted firmly in fantasy, and that you can tell like this isn't real. So it's not going to traumatize anybody. It's just, I'm not going to pretend that it's appropriate for 8-year-olds to play. Says, personally, I did like it as a teen, but I understand why it's M. And that's another reason, is because we've taken so long with the game. Our audience has kind of grown up. So the people that started playing our game as like a 8-year-old or a 12-year-old are now older and they want the game to kind of grow up with them. And I don't mind to make it a little bit more mature so that they still feel like they are like the game's made for them. So this was never supposed to be like a Goosebumps game or Hello Neighbor, like something really aimed at kids. Like, you don't see me. I mean, we have plushies, but we're not like out there merchandising the hell out of this game, trying to get all those kid bucks. It's cool to have merchandise, and I want to give them something, because who doesn't want like some merchandise of their favorite game on their desk? I've got a lot on my desk in the office. But our focus is on the game, and I never design games to sell merchandise. UBF 13, will any of the levels, you threw in 2, thank you again. Will any of the levels with zones get new themes? Yeah, I think a lot of the levels, especially for chapter 1 through 4 remake, are getting new, they're either getting additional tracks or remaking one of the existing chase themes. So one of them that I could say for sure is Stranger Sewers. It just used the same track before for both zones. Now each zone has a unique track. Trying to think of any others. Torment Therapy. We haven't changed zone 2, but it's possible we'll add like a new track to it. Crazy Carnival has like a new track. It doesn't change anything, but it's additional track added on. Same with Monkey Business. Like Deadly Decadence, we added a new track for the exterior because it was silent before. Agatha's level, we didn't really add any new music. Oh wait, no, we did. There is a new track for Agatha's level. It's for the exterior. So we added one for that. Mascot Mayhem has the new track that's for Zone 1, but it doesn't replace the existing Joy Joy Gang ditty that we used before. It's just complementing it. And then Barely Buried, we haven't done a new track for, but we probably will. So, yeah. Okay. Pseudonym 28 through in 20. Thank you, Pseudonym. How many monsters from the old versions and concepts didn't make it to the final versions, including those we haven't seen or heard of yet? None. I mean, the original cut monster designs are pretty much it. Well, actually, no, there's a few. I guess if we ever put an art book, you'll see kind of like the early version ideas for each character. There's a lot of like cut designs for like Puppet King and for Reaper Nurse, like the ones we didn't go with. I think you guys will get a kick out of those. So I am planning to do a Dark Deception art book at some point, and then you can see all those old artwork in the characters that didn't make it in. So I'll save it for that. I think when the full game is out, then I'll do, on the Glowstick Entertainment store, we'll sell an art book that kind of has all those art in it. Okay, Shayla threw in another 5. Thank you. If the Matron has the same soul type as Reaper Nurses, does that mean that the Titan Watcher has the same soul type as the Gold Watchers? Yeah, the Titan Watcher is essentially the same as the Gold Watcher. It's just he's more of a collection of souls rather than just one that embodies that larger shell. And actually, we expand a lot. Well, we expand a lot on the lore of how the Gold Watchers are made in the remake. So that back room that used to be a secret room where you saw the smelting pot and the kind of ritual underneath it of the Gold Watchers, we've completely just scrapped that entire room and rebuilt a new area that's much, much larger and really tells a story about the Gold Watchers and the souls that are sealed within them. Because, you know, the Gold Watchers are just golden golems, basically. So they're powered by the soul that is sealed inside of that shell, and then they become the mindless Gold Watchers. So we've got like a little bit of a factory that you can check out in that level now. See if I missed any of your question. Okay. Let's see. Next one is Unicat. Oh, you already hit me with this, huh? Didn't I tell you that I wasn't able to read well tonight? I'll still do it. Thank you again, Unicat. $5. My eyes turning red like a balloon because I'm crying because I'm a horrible person, bro. I've been cooking to my I can't read this. I scream in the blah blah blah. Whoop. Not reading that one. The part at the end's no good. Okay. Star through in 5. Thank you, Star. Are the long arms that grab Doug in Chapter 5, Teaser 1, going to be an enemy we face, or are they just for the spooks? That's just for that cutscene, for that moment. We kind of allude to it in a part of the game, but it's a little bit different from the cutscene. But no, it's not going to be an enemy that's like chasing you around in the environment, but it is part of the story. I think what you see in the teasers are kind of rendered examples of what happens in the story. It's not like shot for shot, it's going to happen exactly the same as it does in those teasers. It's just like just another way to preview that, what's going to happen. So the environment sets that you see in the teaser are the environment sets that are in the game. They may be lit differently. They may be a little bit different visual style, but they are the same. Same with the characters. We're only using the game models in those teasers, so those are ripped straight out of the game. Let's see. Caper threw in 5. Thank you, Caper. Is Holiday Horror bigger than Barely Buried? Yes. And is Prison Panic bigger than Holiday Horror? Prison Panic. I think just based on sheer size, yes. But as far as like the scale of the maze, maybe not. I feel like they're kind of equal, but Prison Panic's very different in the way it does things. So it's not really like a fair comparison. And when you play those levels later, you'll understand what I mean. It doesn't make much sense right now, but later it will. As far as why it's hard to compare Prison Panic's scale to a Holiday Horror. They just do things in a very different way. But they're both very large. Let's see, Lonely Mage through in 2. Will any of the levels have new chase themes in Enhanced Plus? Yeah, that's the one I answered earlier. Some of them have new chase themes. Some of them have new exterior themes. Some of the old themes have been replaced. But every level has at least one new track. All the way from level 1 to level 8. So every single level has a new music track. Unicat and Jess, Argo was trying to ask what your most anticipated DD fan game was. Just from what I've seen, I mean, the fan game surprise of the year was Dark Deception Hunted. And we weren't expecting that, and it became officially our first Dark Deception fanverse game. So we actually acquired that game from the developer, and so it's our first success story as far as like a Dark Deception fanverse. And as far as the ones that I know about, I'm sure there's a lot that I don't know about, but the ones that I've seen is the 3D Dark Deception kart racing game. I know there's Dark Disillusion. Trying to think of some of the other ones that have popped up on my radar a little while ago. I haven't looked into the fan games in a little while because I haven't seen them popping up on X, on Twitter. So I don't really know what's going on with them as far as like new chapters and stuff. But if the community has any recommendations, just kind of keep shouting them my way so I can take a look, because we're always heads down working on the games, so it's hard for us to kind of look around and see what's new. So I really rely on the community to put these things in front of me and kind of make it visible to me, because we're just kind of always working on the games. Let's see. So right now, at least for me, probably my most anticipated, if the guy's still working on it or whatever team's working on it, is the kart racing game, just because I really love kart racing games. So I wanted to see, and the one he's making looks wild. Like it's got Malik riding a demon buggy or something. So I was like, I want to see that. Like it looks hilarious. So I really hope he finishes it, or whoever's working on that. I haven't heard any news about that in a while. Oh, and I think somebody was doing like a Bendy crossover game that looked kind of cool, but I don't know anything about that. Flantos, are we really getting Super Dark Deception Chapter 2 before the Tokyo Games? I never said that. I love how in the absence of a deadline, the fan base, the community starts creating deadlines. I said it's coming soon, and I can't say a date because it's always sliding, and we are not fully polished on a lot of the things in Chapter 2. So it's almost done, but it's kind of like 98% done, and there's this last 2% that we're polishing, and it's not, you hear 2% and you're like, oh, that's fast, you should be done with that tomorrow. It's not like that. That last 2% is the most time consuming. So whenever that last 2% is done, I will just drop the game and the trailer same day and be like, hey, it's there, enjoy. And that's going to be for PC and mobile, really, the ones who are going to get it first, because the console version takes some time to go through the whole lot check process, the QA process with Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. So that will probably delay them a month. So anybody that has it on console will have to wait a little bit longer to play it, because there's no delay to put it out on Steam, and there's no delay to put it out on mobile. But with the console, we have to go through their little process. So it's not going to be like everybody gets it all at once, but definitely mobile and PC will get the update pretty soon. And I think consoles, hopefully we can have it all out by end of October, around Halloween, or early November, but definitely this year for the console version. So most of our players are on PlayStation 5. So it kind of sucks that it's going to take a little bit longer to get it on PS5 and PS4 to get that update out. But it will come, and you will get to play it. So it's going to be worth the wait. Chapter 2 is huge. And it makes the game so much more replayable. Like, I think it adds a lot of fun to the game with the new levels. Chapter 4 levels are awesome. And we have the new arcade games, which add a lot of replay value. And there's just so much to find and unlock and play through. And then you can get the S rank. So I think people are going to like Super Dark Deception even more than they already do once those are out. And then we can get to the last chapter, Chapter 3, and actually finish the game. So Ant Gaming, henceforth bogged down through in 2. Have you thought about leaking superpowers? No, I'm going to keep the powers a secret. I mean, I let people guess, like, what kind of powers you're going to get from Papa King and Darkstar. But yeah, I'm not going to leak that early. You'll see it in the gameplay trailer. Gaming Scrooge. Okay, I think this thing is blasted the AC in here long enough. It's actually bearable now. Gaming Scrooge threw in another 25. Thank you. It says, "Hey Vince, now a question for me. Would you nerf telekinesis? No. So that it doesn't work on multiple floors? No. Because it makes Torment Therapy Zone 2 trivial, for example." Actually, I said no twice, but we've already rebalanced telekinesis, and it actually has a new functionality too as well. So it will feel very different when you play. Um, for anybody that was bothered, and don't ask me about telepathy. I know a lot of people are complaining about that effect. Telekinesis, though, has actually changed a bit because it's has an additional usage now, which you'll see later on. Well, actually, no, you'll see it in the remake. So yeah, actually, I guess that's not much of a spoiler since the remake's coming out and it's in there. Is that it doesn't just pull shards and it has a much more limited range now, depending on even if you fully power it, it has like a limited area that it can affect. It's not going to be like, God cheat anymore. But also, you can use it to interact with devices and switches and things. So there will be some new gameplay where Doug has to use telekinesis to open different paths or to free himself from different events. Mr. Mister threw in 20. "Thank you for all that you do, Vince. We're all very excited for everything that's coming out. I initially was going to attend Tokyo Game Show, but unfortunately got very busy. Next event, we'll see how it goes." Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It would have been awesome to see you at Tokyo Game Show, but yeah, I know that's kind of far out, and not everyone can get to Japan, so don't worry about it too much. I'm sure, um, when Chapter 5 goes out, I'll probably make myself available at more game shows, um, especially ones outside of Asia. So there'll be more chances to kind of meet with me and the team and say hi. But otherwise, I'm going to be walking around Tokyo Game Show doing some streaming. It's not going to be like this. It's not going to be a Q&A. I'm just going to be sharing what I see. It may not, well, maybe not even be a live stream. If I do a live stream, it'll be short. It may just be like recorded clips where any interesting games I see, especially horror games, I'll try to share it with all of you so that you can kind of get a look at what's going on in Tokyo Game Show this year. I'm sure it's going to have some really amazing stuff, especially from like Capcom. I've seen like the new Resident Evil trailers. So I'm expecting a lot of really big announcements in the main hall. And that's where we are this year. So last time we were in the Indie Hall, which is like this banished little exhibition hall far from the main hall where a lot of people don't go to because they have to walk across this bridge to get there. And that's just like kind of too far for some people. So the main hall is where everybody usually goes to, and the press and everything. It gets the most foot traffic easily. So this year we're going to be in there. We are going to be with Ukiyo Studios, which is a collective. So it's going to be us, and I think we're going to be next to the mouthwashing team. And I saw there's like a new game that says "No, I'm Not Human" or something like that, and that's going to be there. It's a lot of like really cool indie horror games, and we're all going to be kind of in the same square. So if you are going to Tokyo Game Show, definitely stop by. I'm not going to be at the booth all the time. Like I'm not going to be there 24/7. I have a team kind of running that with the Ukiyo team's going to be handling that, answering any questions, helping like players test out the demos of Super Dark Deception and Dark Deception, the remake. But I will stop by. There will be kind of like set times that I'm going to be by to say hi to everybody. And I'm not sure what those times are yet. They haven't given me the schedule. But yeah, and then Penn will be there too. So it'll be the two of us. Unfortunately, Nixon couldn't make it this year. So it'll just be two of the three team members. But yeah, we'll be around. And that'll be all 4 days. I don't know if anybody can get in on the business days, but they have 2 business days and 2 days for consumers. So definitely we'll be there all 4 days. Oh, got a few more. UBF through in 5. Will you ever showcase any teasers on any future Q&As? No. Just I want to keep the Q&A just questions. if I did anything like that, I would just do it as a premiere of some kind because I think that's more fun to like wait for the premiere and then watch it, and then everybody is kind of like interacting with each other and can kind of talk about it during the premiere and afterwards. That's just feels like a better way to share things with the community. You know, the Q&A not everyone shows up for, and it feels like kind of a more limited event where you guys would go out and tell people about it versus everyone gets to be part of it. So for a trailer, more people show up. Canal, 25 bits through and 5. Thank you, Canal. Dark Deception Roblox will have 4 levels. Or sorry, chapter 4 levels. Yeah, eventually. So the way we're doing Dark Deception Roblox, or Dark Deception Hunted on Roblox, is we are going to expand it. It's not going to have the story of Dark Deception. So it's not a replacement for Dark Deception. It's just a complement. So it's not going to have every single level. We're mainly going to focus on the levels that people like the most. So we're doing Elementary Evil right now. We're going to add that. And we will get to Mascot Mayhem, of course. Maybe Barely Buried. I'm not exactly sure what the limit of the levels is. As long as the game keeps sustaining itself and it's doing great, we'll keep adding levels. We're definitely not going to add all of them, but I mean, we could put in 6 out of the 8. And then eventually we might even add chapter 5 levels, like at least one of them. So as long as the game keeps getting a high player count and keeps being supported by the Roblox community, we'll keep expanding it. So I think the next one's going to be Elementary Evil. And then we are going to also blend in Monsters and Mortals mechanics into that. So the item boxes that are in Monsters and Mortals are going to be added to Dark Deception Hunted to give it a bit more kick and make it more replayable, so it doesn't feel like just a linear, like point A to point B retreading of the main game. We want it to feel like a replayable event that you can go into and enjoy with friends, and it's always different every time you play. Ant Gaming threw in 200. Thank you, Ant Gaming. How much is chapter 5 done in percentage? Why do you ask me these questions? You know I can't answer that. You just want to hear me say, you'll see. I get it. All right. You'll see. It's coming. But I can't say a percentage. It's kind of like when it's done, it's done. I've even toyed with the thought of shadow dropping chapter 5 just to catch everyone off guard. We'll see. We'll see how I feel as it gets close to being done. But yeah, no percentages. All right, let me go to our member chat now because I've given the super chat a lot of time. And I saw a really long list in the beginning, so let me go back. Oh, it's not going to let me go that far back. Okay, well, let me get this one. It says, hi, Vince. This is from Laura. It says, hi, Vince. It's been over 5 years since the first live stream, and I have to ask, in loving memories of the jackhammer incident from the first live stream, can we get a construction worker skin in Monsters and Mortals? Yeah, I think I could arrange that in a future skin pack. We could do a construction worker. And, oh, wow. Thank goodness there's no jackhammers because my building is surrounded by construction sites right now. Like, they're just building all kinds of stuff. I'm surprised there's not a jackhammer going right now. They don't have any real rules here about what time they can do construction work. They're not supposed to work at night, but I've seen them doing it several times. So we are so lucky not to have a jackhammer going in the background right now. My mistake was doing it during the daytime for our first live stream. I never did that again. So yeah, future construction worker skin incoming. Maybe we can add that for the Doors and Piggy DLC when we get to that. All right, let me scrub the timeline or the chat a little bit more. It looks like It's not going to let me go back to that original huge list that Music posted. Sorry, Music. I see a lot of people gifting memberships. That's awesome. Thanks for helping people out. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking through the chat right now. Okay, so I've got one from Curtis Ashby. It says, "Hey Vince, is Holiday Horror darker than the other levels in Dark Deception?" Parts of it are, yeah, definitely. In fact, you'll see one part of it in the Chapter 5 teaser 2 trailer. And that part's interesting. I'm not going to spoil it before the teaser drops, but that'll give you kind of an idea. So yeah, it is darker. Despite some of the early concept art I've shown, Prison Panic isn't actually that dark. Just kind of looking through more of the chat. Curtis Ashby has another one. Is Super Dark Deception Chapter 2 going to be a great chapter for us to play? Yeah, I think, like I was saying, Chapter 2 adds a lot as far as content goes. More than doubling the size of the game. But I think it adds a lot of really cool boss fights, many boss fights, the many arcade games that we have, like just Lost Labyrinth, you can play for hours. I think the Dark Deception kart racing game takes a while to play too, easily 30 minutes. It's a lot of fun. But I mean, the real fun's in the main story campaign, and it has a lot of really cool events translated into 2D, like the ballroom fight and all the different cutscenes from Mascot Mayhem and Barely Buried, and it adds a lot of new story too. And then we went back and enhanced, we'll add some additional stuff to the Chapter 1 levels. So now the mystery rooms have new story elements to them, and we've added the flashlight mechanic to Stranger Sewers and some of the other levels as well, Mascot Mayhem being one. So it's worth it to go back and play, even if you've already S-ranked them, go back and play the Chapter 1 levels, Monkey Business, Elementary Evil, Deadly Decadence, and Stranger Sewers, because it'll feel a little bit different now. At least Stranger Sewers and Elementary Evil. No, I mean, you probably want to visit the mystery room in all of them. Capybara Gamer asks, Vince, is Nixon the demon god? Yes, it's this. That's the secret true ending. The final demon god is a merged amalgamation of myself, Nixon, and Penn. And the fight delays so long that you never complete the game. Oh, okay, I found Music's list here. She resent all of it. Okay. What kind of shoes does Darkstar wear? 9-inch heels. Does she have a Sonic Scream ability? No. Are her abilities tied to the rose on her hat? No. And will she appear in future Malik Archive books? Yeah, it's possible, but not Malik Archive 2. She's not in that one. One of the stories in the second volume of Malik Archives is about Detective Evans in the Nightmare Realms. So that's one thing you'll get to see. Or read about, sorry. Okay, next question. Oh, this is like a continuation of Darkstar. Is it true that whenever Darkstar thinks a prisoner is talented, She turns them into one of those robots and makes them her backup singers, dancers, otherwise known as the Star Army. Um, those robots. No, I would say she does do something to the prisoners, but it's not that. So you'll see it later. I mean, you're kinda on the right path, but a little bit far off, just in the idea of what happens. Does she abuse TV heads because they're old machines? I haven't really said anything about the TV heads. People keep asking me, but I haven't given any details yet. But I'm gonna kind of keep it that way for the moment. You will actually see them in teaser 2, so you'll get your kind of first look at them, the Star Army and the TV heads. Let's see, why are the prisoners in Prison Panic being kept alive? And if Darkstar also does executions, what's the point of the barely buried realm? Well, I mean, just because there's McDonald's doesn't mean there can't be Burger King too. There's lots of room for executions. I mean, the Joy Joy Gang also does executions. Any of the monsters that kill mortal souls are basically performing executions. Mama Bear is just where Malik kind of sends the ones that he wants to have special treatment, like the more basically his like enemies and rivals. It's kind of like a dumping ground for those difficult to deal with souls. When the standard fare isn't enough, she's kind of like the specialist, the cleaner. But that doesn't mean she's Malik's only cleaner. I mean, if you look at the Italian mafia, they've got lots of cleaners. Let's see. Will Chapter 5... see, if Flantos, will Chapter 5 Teaser 02 be longer than the first teaser? Actually, I kind of forget how long the first teaser was. I think it was like a minute, a little over a minute. Is that right? Somebody remind me. But the teaser 2 is over 2 minutes. So it's pretty long compared to the first one. At least I think so. If I'm wrong and the first one was 2 minutes long, then it's about the same. Let's see. Pyro Shark asks, will Doug talk throughout the level or respond to Beers and her comments? Doug does talk in Chapter 5, but it's related to the story. So most of the time, he won't respond to Beers because he doesn't have the ability to. You'll see why later. See, Music asks, are Darkstar and Puppet King able to shapeshift? And are they made up of one soul or a cluster of souls like Mama Bear? Darkstar and Puppet King, well, at least Puppet King's not a shapeshifter. So no. Darkstar kinda is, to a degree. Not necessarily like Mama Bear, where she can mutate herself. Darkstar's is a little bit more functional. And as far as what their soul count is, it's just one. Let's see, I love pink. If you remove the wind-up key from a murder monkey, will it stop working? I know. It's mostly for decoration. They like kind of are self-automated. They can keep moving regardless. Murder monkeys are actually really resilient. You'll see that a bit in Chapter 5 towards the end. Like they just keep coming. Hard to destroy. Let's see. Music. Since Puppet King does magic, what color is it and how would you visually describe it? I mean, I'm not gonna reveal his attack or describe too much about it. The color of his magic depends on which magic he's using. He has a number of different attacks that he will use against Doug. So they have different colors depending on which one to help you kind of visually identify them as he's using them. Oop, did the jump. Hold on. Oh, Flanto says, I must say you took my breath with the looks of Barely Buried and the Fallen Super Dark Deception Chapter 2. News you showed on Twitter. Well, it's cool. I'm glad you liked it. I was actually sharing that to kind of test it out with the community and see if they would get upset that you could fall into the pit. But it seemed like everybody's okay with it. That effect was done by one of our programmers on the team, and I thought it's really cool. So I want to kind of run it by the community and see if they're okay with that, because some people might like complain and think it's unfair. I think it's fine as long as you don't like speed run and not pay attention. But it adds a lot of personality to the game, and it kind of reminds me of the old Zelda games from Super NES. So I like it. It's staying in the game. And I'm glad you like Barely Buried. We put a lot of time into that level as far as the art. So it's really cool. I think you'll enjoy it when it's ready to play. Let's see. Canal 25 says, will there be an OST for Chapter 5 posted after Teaser 2? No, it's probably going to be the Chapter 1 through 4 remakes tracks for a little bit until we get through all of them. So yeah, it's going to continue with the Enhanced Plus. Let's see. Trier 07. When you said Mascot Mayhem Zone 3 will be bigger in Enhanced Plus, does that mean that the shards will be more spread out with additional areas as the shard counter doesn't change much, or will it be much bigger? I mean the actual size of the maze is bigger, much bigger. And it does have a little bit more shards too. See, I'm going through these. Okay, music of Malik's generals, which is the strongest? Which is the most powerful? Which is the smartest? Which is the most evil? And which is the most mysterious? You got it all. Okay, well, I mean, strength-wise, I would say they're all pretty equal. It's just depends on their abilities, how difficult they are, and how well you adapt to that. But I wouldn't call necessarily any one of them more powerful than the other. Definitely Darkstar and Papa King feel more powerful just with their abilities. But I think, one-on-one, Mama Bear and Joykill and the Joy Joy gang could still hold their own. It's just it wouldn't be easy for them. As far as the smartest, probably Papa King or Darkstar. It's definitely not Lucky. He's just the most street smart. As far as which is the most evil, that's Lucky, easily. And which is the most mysterious, probably Papa King. Let's see. Eggs B, would you say Holiday Horror's escape sequence is challenging? Yeah. I can't say what it is to explain why it's challenging, but yeah, it's definitely challenging. Will there be spider webs? UBF13 says, will there be spider webs for the clown spiders? No, we didn't put that in. I Love Pink asked if Mama Bear falls in the void of Barely Buried Zone 3, will she die? Unfortunately, it's a little cheap that way, is that the enemies will never fall into the pit. So they're kind of protected. Call it plot armor. They're not gonna like throw themselves into the pit and make your life easy. No, that's not gonna happen. Only you can fall into the pit. They can't. Music asks, will we learn something new about Bierce's backstory that we wouldn't know from the diaries? Eventually you will. You'll learn a lot more about E in chapter 4, or sorry, chapter 2 of Super Dark Deception from her E-Note cutscenes. But as far as Bierce goes, I think most of her, because she's very guarded. She doesn't let her guard down around Doug or anybody. She doesn't want anyone to really know her that well. So it's not until, well, chapter 5 and chapter 3 that the mask kind of comes off and you get to see the real Bierce and get to see kind of what her demons are and what she's dealing with. Because, everybody has their demons. Everybody's got something they're not proud of. And Bierce has plenty, just like Doug has plenty. Doug and Bierce, I think, really are kind of a pair. If you look at their personality later and what they are kind of struggling with, they really are kind of cut from the same cloth, like kindred spirits. Even though they don't know it, even though they might not respect each other that way, they are very similar. And I think that will become kind of their bond in chapter 5, is that commonality of being terrible people. Let's see. Trying to find one that's like a good question. So I can't read all of them, but I will try to pick out some that are interesting. Music asks, is there a reason why Malik's relic gets into the hands of a human or mortal like Elise and Dr. John from Malik Archives? Or is it just Malik's entertainment? Well, it was kind of revealed a little bit in chapter 4 in one of the e-notes, even though you didn't have a visual to go with it. It had kind of a hint of what that relic really is. If you think about it, if you look at the relic and what it does to the user and who is the one granting that relic, it almost is, I mean, this is just my interpretation of it, is like a similar to a wish from the monkey's paw. So it will pretend to help you, but in actuality, it's hurting you. So it is a form of torment and despair in that it helps you, but it takes something from you each time it helps you. So you could say Malik is using it to toy with people that he wants to toy with. It has like a use for him. And it's probably not the only relic that he has, but in this story, it's one that you will see first. Malik's actually a collector of a lot of things. You'll see a bit of that in Fear Fortress. Oh, somebody said it. The teaser 1 was 1 minute 38 seconds. So yeah, teaser 2's longer. It might even be 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I have to see what the latest cut runs at. I'm not sure. Somebody asked, Canal asks, will the Dark Deception Hunted Roblox game have original levels with their own OSTs? Yeah, I think one thing we've been talking about is doing collaborations with other Roblox teams or different IP. So yeah, in that case, kind of like Monsters and Mortals, it would be an original map we would create for whoever we collaborate with. So maybe it's possible Dark Deception Hunted collaborate with something popular like, not Grow Garden, maybe like Forsaken. I think that's one of the top games still, right? Hopefully it hasn't dropped out. Definitely, I don't know if we do it with like Steel of Brain Rot. But anything that's popular, maybe the 99 Nights, we could do something like that if one of those teams wanted to collaborate with us. Or it could even be something that's not a Roblox game. Or it could even be like Doors and Piggy, if the Elsplash and Minitoon are up to it. There's a lot of possibilities, but yeah, we would make like an original map. Music says, thank you, Vince, for answering my questions. I've been saving these on a Google Doc for months. Hey, cool. I'm glad I got to finally let you roll some of those out and I answer them for you. Um, there's a lot. I couldn't answer them all, but hopefully I picked a couple good ones that you wanted to hear the answer to. Kind of looking through here. Excorpion says there were 2 mystery tracks in Cutting Room Cutting Room Volume 2. Were they for holiday horror and will they be revealed later or are they already revealed? Trying to remember what you're talking about. Maybe they were for holiday horror because I think when I put those tracks out, the Cutting Room tracks, that's really all we had at that point was holiday horror. There wasn't really any music for Prison Panic or Fear Fortress, so it's probably for that. Nate the Gamer's Boy said, would we be able to find the Malik Archive books in stores at some point? Yeah, I've actually been working on that. I've had some difficulty with getting the book into stores. It's something entirely outside of my control. So the first thing I'm going for is Amazon, so that at least people can order it from Amazon. They have another option besides the Glowstick Entertainment Store. The Glowstick Entertainment Store is where we'll sell special things like signed copies of the book if we do that, or maybe some special additional books that we're not going to put on Amazon. But the Malik Archives, we want to sell as many places as possible. So I think another one that we've been trying to get into is the Scholastics, like Scholastic Book Fair, because that's a great way to reach like all the schools and let people buy our book. But unfortunately, it seems like Scholastic, because of the success of the FNAF books, doesn't want to accept any additional indie horror books based on games. So we keep getting rejected by them. They won't take the Dark Deception books and put them for sale. So we're not able to reach those book fairs. So another option is maybe like Barnes and Noble. We're looking into that, like putting it on sale on the Barnes and Noble online store, and then maybe putting into the physical bookstores. There's other options like Target and Walmart. We're looking into it, but stuff like that takes time. They have a lot of barriers set up. There's a lot of channels to go through and distributors. It's never something fast. But yeah, absolutely. We want to put these books as many places as possible. And the sales from Glowstick Entertainment from the online store are what are basically giving the track record that will make those other companies interested to carry our book. So the more copies we sell on Glowstick Entertainment store, I can take those numbers to somewhere like Target or Walmart or Barnes and Noble and say, look, our community supports this book. If you sell it here, it will sell well too. Because that's what they're going to look at. They're going to look at how many copies did you sell? Does your community care about this book? Because they don't want to carry something that's going to sit on the shelf and not sell. So yeah, the power of what we can sell is entirely in the hands of the community. If you guys don't support it, then I'm basically in a boat with, nothing. What's the expression? Up the creek without a paddle. I can't BS my way into them carrying our products if nobody's buying them. So yeah, as long as you guys keep supporting the books and they keep selling well, I can get it into a lot of things, especially with the movie coming out now. That will help a lot to get us into some of these stores and get our toys on shelves and things like that, I think. So looking forward to that, and you'll start to see Dark Deception products at more places rather than only online. Let me see what else we got here. Oh, we're past 2 hours. So I can go another 15 minutes, but we can't let this run 3 hours. I've got some deadlines for tomorrow, so I gotta kind of get back to that, but I don't want to cut it too short. So I'll do another 15 minutes of answering questions, and then we'll just kind of wrap it up there, and then I'll kind of pop back on during Tokyo Game Show. So it's not the end, it's just a pause for a few days, and then we can check out all the cool games together. says, will Chapter 5, Flanto asks, will Chapter 5 Teaser O2 come out before Super Dark Deception Chapter 2? Yes, that's very likely because Teaser 2 is basically almost done already. So it may even be out in the next 2, 3, 4 days, depending on some of the audio that we're waiting for. It's really just audio that's holding it up. Let me see. Oh, let me go back to see if there's any new super chats. I think we did get a few other ones. Okay, Rooney Nico was asking me, are you aware of the scandal on Roblox, and what are your thoughts? Yeah, I'm aware of the child safety issue on Roblox and with Schlep. That's something I've been kind of paying attention to, and I fully support Schlep and his pursuit of Roblox to hold them accountable. We'll see how that goes. You know, Roblox has a great legal team, and I've gone against a big company myself. It's never easy. It takes a lot of time, and the legal process is very slow. We'll kind of see how it goes. But I think ultimately this is a good thing, whether they win or lose, because it's forcing Roblox to finally take measures to protect kids. I mean, when Roblox started off, that was its whole thing, was that it was a safe place for kids to play games. And now it's become kind of like a pedophile's paradise where they prey on these kids. And it's not gated or protected at all. These pedophiles can just go right in there and pretend to be kids. And yeah, that's very dangerous. As a parent, I don't feel safe to let my kid play Roblox right now. Like, he loves Roblox, and he was really excited that I have a Dark Deception game on Roblox and that he can play like FNAF and Poppy. He's kind of at that age now where he's getting into all these games. And he thinks it's cool that Roblox has all of them. But I would never let him play Roblox by himself now, because it's so many pedophiles on Roblox. And I've already caught some people trying to add him as friends while he was playing. So I was like, okay, you can play Roblox, but I'm going to be in the room with you to make sure nobody's trying to talk to you. Because he's not even, he's under age 10. He's very young. And you can't really trust him just to be, it's not his fault. You just can't leave him alone on Roblox. There's too many weirdos on there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I'm sure it's going to change Roblox for the better. Roblox isn't going to die. There's just too much money in Roblox now. Canal 25 bits threw in another 2. Fear Fortress and Wicked Ways will have more OSTs. Yes, I can confirm that. Dead by Stupidity said, threw in 5. Hey, it's been a while. How are you? Have you thought about doing Dark Deception VR port? And which realm would you be afraid to be stuck in most? Yeah, I think VR is something we've always talked about, because that's basically where Dark Deception started, was in VR on the Oculus Rift. Back in 2014, when Dark Deception came out before Five Nights at Freddy's, it was just a VR demo of Monkey Business, and it was very, very different looking. It was like a really super bright yellow, like really low poly environment. It looked like garbage, but it ran really well on VR, and it made everybody sick. So we've always wanted to go back and make people sick again. So yeah, I think PSVR 2 would probably be the best place for it. Maybe Oculus still, we'll see. But I think one of those two of the most popular VR headsets probably would be what we would target. But yeah, I think once it's out on all traditional platforms, mobile, PC, consoles, then we could look at doing a VR version. So let me see, a couple more. Gaming Scrooge Through another 10. Is Darkstar a machine or a natural human soul? Um, I would say neither. She's not really a mortal. You'll see what I mean in chapter 5. Of course, you gotta say that you'll see. But yeah, Darkstar doesn't have a mortal soul. That's not what she is. She does have a backstory. You'll see it in Prison Panic. But kind of like Lucky, she's not really a mortal. Not everyone in the Nightmare Realms is born from a mortal soul. Some are born from other things. So Darkstar and Lucky and the rest of the Joy Joy gang kind of fall into that category. But okay, I think this is a good stopping point because we got a lot of questions in. You guys asked some great questions this time. Thank you all for hitting me with some of the hardball questions. Not making it easy. Because otherwise it'd be boring. Like nobody wants to watch a Q&A full of softball questions. Like it's not as exciting and it doesn't give as many good details. So I'm sorry to everybody. I had to give the you'll see response to, but you know, it's kind of known at this point. So yeah, that's the end of episode 32 until episode 33, which I think will probably come maybe around Halloween. Makes sense to do it around Halloween and do like a Halloween Q&A. And by then we should have chapter 2 out in episode, the second teaser, plus maybe a lot more teasers of the chapters 1 through 4 remake, especially of like Elementary Evil and Deadly Decadence. So there will be a lot more to talk about then too. And if we're lucky, maybe there'll be some movie details as far as like a director or something. So yeah, fingers crossed we have some good stuff. That's right before the book comes out. And I'll see you all in the near future. And I'll see you all at Tokyo Game Show. So let's get ready for that and hope that it's a really good show and that there's a lot of really awesome surprises and games. All right, the rest of you have a great time, great day wherever you are, and I'll see you all next